Okay, how's it going? I'm making this video regarding what the planet Sun means in a birth chart. Well, the planet Sun is obviously represented by the zodiac sign called Leo. So, a lot of what Leo represents has to do with the Sun. So, they both share the exact same similarities. But when you're looking at a birth chart, you may see the Sun's placement in your house, in a specific house in your birth chart, and you want to know how to read that specific sun placement in your birth chart and what exactly does it represent. Before I get into that though, I wanted to talk about how people use the sun sign specifically for things like horoscopes and stuff like that. Well, if you go based on just saying, oh well, I'm a Virgo, I'm a Libra, I'm this or that, you're basically only using 50% of what the planet Sun represents in astrology. What I mean by that is the Sun represents self-expression, and as you express yourself, your true identity of who you are comes out. So obviously people could say that's a personality trait and stuff like that. So this means that you have to look in your birth chart to see exactly where your sun is placed, to see where or how you self-express yourself, and then the true formality of the sign your sun is placed in will come out. It will really be revealed. So just saying you're a Leo or a Cancer isn't good enough. Another thing too is the transits of the sun lasts for about 30 days. No joke, but when the sun sign changes throughout the transits, so let's say if it's in Virgo today and then boom, tomorrow it transits Libra, somehow I would actually just feel that the sun changes signs somehow. I don't know, the air just changes. Something just would feel different. But I don't pay attention to the sun transits anymore. The sun transits aren't that spectacular or give any sort of great results. I wouldn't focus on it too much. When it comes to the effects of the sun transits, what I would notice is that whichever house is placed in, that house becomes alive. And you put slight of your energy towards that house, towards whatever that house represents. I never tested it, but since the sun represents your father, maybe the sun transits could show places your father goes. Now let's focus on the true premise of this video and to see what the sun placements in our birth chart really even mean, or do they even mean anything? And yes, they do mean something. But first, let's see what the sun truly represents in astrology. As I just previously mentioned, the sun represents your father. So wherever the sun is placed in your birth chart can show a lot of where your father goes. So for example, if sun is placed in the ninth house, it can show someone's father that probably is very religious and is often in religious places or takes part of religious events like going to church on Sundays, as an example. Sun's placement can also describe the personality of your father by looking at the sign your sun is placed in. Then if planets are conjunct the sun, it could describe the relationship you would have with your father. The sun represents ego, narcissism, self-esteem, and confidence. These all relate to the self-expression side that the sun represents, because in order to express yourself, you need to have confidence in something. For example, if you look at my chart, you see that I have the sun in the fourth house, so that could show someone that identity truly comes out when they are at home. Who I am as an individual really comes out when I'm at home or if I'm around the mother. So my confidence will come from fourth house things and the 10th house things. For example, it could be me having a vehicle and using that vehicle to say, hey, look at this what I got. Or it could be me owning a home and be like, hey, I own this big mansion. Let me see how your house looks. The sun's placement shows will be get into ego conflicts with. And ego conflicts regarding the sun is all about arguments in determining who's right and who's wrong. The sun's placement also shows who we boss around, who we try to boss around, and who tries to boss us around. And this is where the ego conflicts come into play, because since that person's trying to boss you around and you're trying to do the same thing, the arguments persist because of trying to determine who's right and who's wrong. You might even notice where that sun is placed, people might even try shouting at you and stuff. So I'll give another example of that. If you look at my chart, you see sun is in the fourth house. The sun has a seven house aspect or an opposite aspect, meaning that since it's in the fourth house, the house opposite the fourth house, which is the 10th house, the sun is giving its energy to that house. So it's almost as if it's in the 10th house at the exact same time. Let me give an example of the bossing around stuff. The 10th house represents our bosses and our superiors at work. So with someone that has sun in the 10th or the 4th house, what they would do is they would try to boss around their actual bosses at work. So the person that has sun in the 10th house would act as though they are the bosses at work. This obviously causes ego conflicts with the actual boss at work. And now it's all about trying to determine, hey, what I say we should do it this way. This is the right way of doing things. And then the actual boss be like, no, listen to me. I'm telling you to do this. And that's an example of how the ego conflicts sun will cause. The sun represents leaders and independence, especially independence. I gotta emphasize on that. So whichever house the sun is placed in your birth chart, you prefer doing things alone or on your own. Even if you weren't doing it on your own or alone, you want to be the person that has the deciding factor on what you should do regarding certain things, wherever the sun is placed. Let me give an example of that. Since the fourth house represents vehicles, I would want to be the determining factor on which vehicle I should get. So for example, when people go and purchase one of those vehicles from the car retailer place or wherever they sell vehicles, or however you get your vehicles, some may get it online and stuff like that. People try to give recommendations. People that work at the company you're trying to get the vehicle from, they give recommendations, and someone with sun in the fourth house wouldn't want to adhere to anybody's recommendations on what they should do regarding fourth house things or what they should get regarding fourth house things. So a person like me would want to get a vehicle that I prefer I should get, not because a sister or cousin may say, oh, you should get that. No, I'm gonna get what I feel is appropriate for me. Another example would be since sun aspects the 10th house of career, that could show someone that wants an independent career. They wouldn't want others telling them what they should do regarding career choices. Or it could be someone that works independent in their work environments. So an independent worker could be seen from that. And it could also show a person that tries to be a leader or tries to take the leadership roles whenever at work. Wherever the sun is placed, you become confident regarding the things that that house represents. You feel like you get a whole self-esteem, an ego boost, just a surge in energy, something that just makes you happy in a way. Oh yeah, I forgot to elaborate on the type of father the sun could represent. I think it could represent the adopted and even the stepfather. Overall, I mainly look at the 10th house in regards to the father. The sun sign could detail characteristic traits that your father naturally possessed or possesses, and you end up inheriting. Anyways, follow me on the other apps. There will be more videos to come.